Hello, hi. So, my name is Sky, and I guess I'm vlogging now. Sorry, this is so low quality. I'm literally in my car right now, just like at a church. This is one of the churches where I learned how to drive. And, yeah, so, hello. I am a 23-year-old trans woman, and I'm doing pretty well for myself, I think. Basically, I was supposed to create some content today for something else, but I really didn't feel like it. So I've been thinking about doing this for a while, so I just decided, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. I guess I can't say that because of YouTube. Fucking whatever. I don't care right now. Okay, so where do I start? So I wanted to talk about my whole trans experience and realizing that I'm trans and like how I dealt with that. Because I've been watching a lot of trans vloggers lately, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video. But something that I watched with a lot of those people and their like coming out videos and like how they knew that they're trans, whatever, is I never could fully relate to anything that they were saying. Like, a lot of them were like, oh, I always knew that I was trans, or like, yeah, it just never felt right when I was a kid. And that's not entirely true for all trans people, including myself. As you can probably tell, I'm like a very girly kind of person, like in the way I carry myself and everything like that. This lighting is terrible. Basically, I didn't even realize that being trans is something that might apply to me. Like, I didn't know that I was trans until I was 20, and I'm 23 right now. So about 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago, is when I first realized, and a couple months after that was when I first came out to somebody, which was my best friend. And at the time, I feel like there were a lot of things that were building up to it, but I just want to talk about my like when I realized that I was trans. I was actually almost 20. I was 19, and I was on a road trip, and I was in a hotel room with one of my friends. Basically, I was on a road trip with two of my best friends, and those two people were, I mean, they still are. They're a couple, and one of them's a boy, one of them's a girl. And I was best friends with the boy, and I was becoming best friends with the girl. And on this road trip, we became like really, really close. We talked a lot, and so honestly, she was one of the first people that I felt like really like girly around. I remember I was with her. Her boyfriend was treating her kind of shitty. And he left the room, and she was kind of feeling down, so I was like, hey, like, you okay? Like, what's wrong? You want to talk about it? And then she did. She started talking about like a bunch of different stuff, and then and I was just like kind of listening, like, yeah girl, I feel you. And after that, she just goes like, I wish you were a girl. And the only thing I could think was, yeah, me too. I didn't say that, but like when I thought that, I had like an oh shit moment. Like, did I really just think that? Because like I knew what being trans was. I never had a problem with that. I just never thought that I was trans. But at that moment, that was kind of like weird. Like, why would I think that? And I remember the next day, my friend's dad said something about my girlish figure or something like that. I don't remember what, but I know that he commented on my girlish figure, and I was so flattered. But yeah, so that is kind of like, I guess, when my shell, my egg cracked, or whatever you Redditors say. So I'm not a Redditor. And yeah, so that sent me into a huge depressive spiral for several months. When I got back from the road trip, so on this road trip, I couldn't smoke any marijuana at all, and at the time I was like really heavy into that, not so much anymore, but at the time I was. And when I got back from the road trip, I hit the pot so hard, you guys, and I might go into like my weed stories later, but like for now, like I'm not talking about that. But I was basically using marijuana as a way to not think about it, because when I was high, I was in another world. But then it backfired, and at a certain point, and even to this day, like when I smoke weed, I get really stuck in my own head. And I was just like, I had one of the most intense dysphoric experiences I've ever experienced before. I was not only on marijuana, but I was also on Adderall. I was in college at the time, and I had like a lot of homework that I needed to do. So I took some Adderall, which I'm not prescribed. Don't recommend it. I mean, it is a lot of fun, but don't recommend it. You should only use your prescription medications. You should only use Adderall if a doctor says you need it. But I don't. And I was kind of irresponsible at the time. You know, I was a college student, so I had a lot of shit that I needed to get done. So I took an Adderall. It was like 9 p.m. at night when it started to kick in, and I was just like going through all my homework. After that, I was done. I finished everything, and I was like, okay, now I need to go to sleep because I need to get to class early. And so I smoked some weed, and that was the worst experience I've ever had, the most dysphoria I've ever felt. After I smoked and took my Adderall and I was laying in bed, I remember I was just like, you are a girl. Like in my head, I was like, you are a girl. You were supposed to be a girl. And I remember feeling like so, like my chest felt like compressed. It was like I could feel my soul in my physical body, and it was so uncomfortable. Like I felt like, oh my gosh, you guys, it was like my chest was like hurting, and like my crotch region was it just felt so wrong. It felt like it had been like twisted inside out, and it was just horrible. It was horrible. And from that moment, I couldn't deny it. I was like, okay, I'm trans. This is what being trans is, so I'm definitely trans. But I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what anybody in my life would think of it. And like, to be fair, I've come from a pretty progressive family, and like my mom even had a friend while I was growing up who was a trans woman. And so it wasn't like a new concept to me. It wasn't like foreign or anything like that, but it was still really scary. And I didn't know what to do. I just didn't. So my initial reaction, because my initial thought was like, you know, I'd rather be uncomfortable as being a guy and being attractive than be an ugly girl and be trans. That's not the way to go, but that was the way that I was thinking. And then yeah, so at first I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna bottle it up. So I think I went probably like 2 or 3 months knowing that I was trans, but not saying anything to anybody, not hinting at it or anything. Like I didn't have a therapist at the time. I didn't really have a lot of gay friends. And yeah, so I was just like, I just kept it to myself. And that led to a lot of anger and hurt. I feel like in that time I lost a lot of really good friends because I started distancing myself, and I just became like a really nasty person to be around. And I remember I was in a band at the time. We were playing a lot of shows. That was a really good way for me to escape. I was in a band and I was smoking a lot of weed. And I remember it was the last show I played for the last band that I enjoyed being in. And it was a shit show. Like, it was first of all, it was the first show that I was playing one of my songs at, so I had to sing, and I am not a singer. I hated it, and that was such a horrible experience. I don't think I'll ever go into it, but basically it was a really bad show. We fucking bombed, and like I brought my guitar with me, and my friend who I was with, I guess he forgot to bring it from his car. We parked like 2 blocks away, and yeah, so when I went to go get my guitar, it wasn't there. And I didn't know that he had forgot it because I specifically told him, like, hey, make sure you bring my guitar, because I was carrying a bunch of other shit. And I guess he just totally spaced it, which isn't surprising. But when I went to grab my guitar, I couldn't find it. I thought that somebody stole it, and I got mad at him. And I really don't know why. I think it was like misguided anger. I was also really high at the time because I was like constantly smoking. And let's see. Yeah, so I was just in a really, really bad headspace. I said something really, really snarky to him on stage, and he wasn't happy with me. And so after the show, we were driving home, and he confronted me about it. He was like, hey, dude, like, what was that about? And I just unloaded everything that was going on. There was a lot of things that were on my mind right now, or at the time. Like, I wasn't in a good like living situation. I hated my job. I hated school. It felt like I had nothing really going for me, and I had just lost a lot of friends. And so I was just like going off about everything that was wrong. And then at the end of it, I say, and on top of all this, I don't even think I'm a boy. And that felt so good, just getting it out there. Like, I am not a boy. And up until that point, I was thinking like the best way for me to deal with this is to just keep it to myself, because I don't want to transition. I don't want to be trans. I don't want to have to say goodbye to my male privilege. But at that moment, I did. And I'm really glad that I did. And my friend, he took it really well. One of his other best friends had just come out as trans too. And yeah, so after that, I started telling more people. I started going by Sky, which was a name that stuck out to me from a long, long time ago. And then I started realizing earlier signs that I was trans. Like, one of the big things for me was when I was a kid, I thought a lot. Like, I was a very introspective child, and one of the things that I thought about was like, what if I'm not a boy? Like, I was thinking like, there's no way I'm a boy. Like, that doesn't make sense. So I was thinking like, maybe I'm a girl, but my parents wanted their firstborn to be a boy so badly that they've been lying to me. And I never brought it up with them. I was like, okay, keep your secrets. I'll keep mine. And because like at that point, I had never seen like what a vagina was. I never saw what another penis was. All I knew was mine. And so I was like, well, maybe this is a vagina. Maybe I just don't know. And I kept that like thought like in the back of my mind for a really long time. But I remember when I was like, I think it was like 11 or 12, I was significantly older when I caught my neighbor kid. He was like a teenage boy, but he was just like peeing in the backyard for some reason. And one of the things I would do at that time was I would stare out the window a lot. And so I saw that and I was like, I guess I'm a boy then. And I didn't really question it ever since then. Yeah, and that's probably like the earliest thing I could think of like the earlier precursors. There are tons of them, and maybe I can do something else later on about like early signs where that I was trans without knowing that I was trans. Yeah, so I've been on estrogen since August of last year, August of 2020, and this is June of 2021. So it's been about 10 months. I started voice training in March of 2021, so it's been, 4 months or something like that? I don't know. And right now it's like I'm trying, but I'm not trying super hard. Let's see what else. I haven't had any surgery. The only surgery I plan on getting is bottom surgery. And I'm not really that big on makeup. I'm wearing a little bit of eye makeup right now. I just like tidied up my eyebrows and I shaved my face and everything like that. But I'm more of a jewelry girl personally. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about myself. That is my realization, my journey realizing that I was trans. I think next time I'll probably do like early signs that I was trans without knowing that I was trans. So basically the things I want you to take away from this video, if you're watching, are one, just because you don't think you're trans for your whole life, just because you don't know your whole life, it doesn't mean you're not trans. Everybody finds out at different ages, and you can always, like, once you find out, you can start transitioning. And if you don't like it, you can go back. Like I've been transitioning for 3 years. I've been medically transitioning for 1 year, socially transitioning for 2 years, but I've known for 3 years. And like, look at how far I've come, you know? Don't bottle it up. If you're experiencing any kind of gender dysphoria, talk to somebody about it. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a family member, or a therapist. Just get it out there, because that's the first step. And what else do I want you to take away from this video? I don't know. I guess, like, everybody does things differently. Like, you know, like, be yourself. Be 100% yourself. Be you, boo. Okay, I don't know how much space I have left on my phone, and I'm at like almost 20 minutes now. So I might just upload this just raw, leave all my weird tangents in there, and just see how it goes. But yeah, so I guess that's everything. Okay, bye.